right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Ultra High Net Worth Clients Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Broadhead. Today, we have the pleasure of talking with Cindy Youngcourt. Hey, Cindy, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Sure, yes. My name is Cindy Youngcourt. I'm an advisor with Affinity Wealth Management, a firm that's been around for nearly 50 years. I've been in the business over 20 years, located in Wilmington, Delaware, and just really love my job.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so, how did you get involved in the industry?
So in college, I went to University of Delaware. I was a blue hen, and I was a business major. Had no clue what I wanted to do with that. Just thought people that major in business had some opportunities. So I ended up working in life insurance for a few years, and then ended up getting a job as a financial assistant for a successful broker at the time. And then I started to realize I really liked learning about all the different financial planning concepts, investing, and the whole holistic approach. And then, I'm in my 20s, then I come home and start talking to my parents who were in their 40s at the time. And my dad was, he worked at Chrysler on the line. My mom was an administrative assistant. So, middle class America. And I was talking to my dad about his 401k. And Chrysler had a 5% match. And my dad wasn't putting anything into it. And I thought, they thought we couldn't afford to do that. And I thought, could you afford not to do this? So I said, all right, let me help my parents, and then I realized that all these different clients that you deal with and all these different professions are really good at what they do, but usually don't know a lot about the things that came easy to me, the things that I really enjoyed, the tax planning, cash flow planning, investment planning, all those things. So when I realized I could help my parents and I could help other people, I just got really excited about it and just kept on from there.
Oh, that's great. So you discovered your passion by helping your parents to better prepare for retirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So what were like your first jobs and roles like? How'd you cut your teeth?
I cut my teeth early on, doing a lot of spreadsheets. Technology wasn't what it is today. So doing a lot of, creative asset allocations that I had to do myself in Excel and, sitting in on meetings, taking notes, soaking everything up like a sponge. At the time, I did not work for an RIA. And for those who don't know the difference, if you work for an RIA, you don't necessarily have to have a Series 7 license. There's different licensing. But the time I worked for a company where you need your Series 7. So that kind of was, studying for that was at the time probably one of the hardest tests I'd taken. And that gave me a good background on investing and all the different pieces with that. And then just, took some time to cultivate some relationships of my own, looking through the typical initially friends and family and smile and dial, all those things that we don't necessarily do as much today. But that was the early years. And also then just, no job was too small. So really wanted to learn everything. So the forms and the admin side as well. I think if you expose yourself and learn all those things early on, then you appreciate them later on.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. So how did you like initially build your practice? It sounds like you did some smiling and dialing. Did you try to differentiate or hone in on a specific type of client? What was your strategy there?
Well, part of my strategy was going to work for firms that already had existing client bases, and from there, getting on a team and showing these clients how much value we could add. So their growth was really organic. Because if you're adding a ton of value to clients and you're showing them all these different ways you can help them, and it goes so much beyond the investment piece, so much beyond that. And a lot of it is about dollars and cents, but it's also about the tax side and how can you make sure that you pay the government what you owe them, but not a dollar more. Also just planning around with families and generational wealth. And early on, one of my companies I work with dealt with a lot of inherited wealth. So learned so much about that. but a lot of the growth really was organic.
Mhm. Awesome. So you mentioned delivering a lot of value to your clients. Can you share some of the strategies you use, like even back then, and some of the strategies you use today to deliver value to clients?
Sure. I think one of the main strategies is having everyone focus more on the actual plan. We're not trying to, beat a benchmark. We want to make sure your plan's in place and things are working for you. That's what's most important. And also, we don't want to focus solely on just investing. We want to make sure that all the pieces. And this holds true for my initial clients early on that maybe had 100,000, and it holds true for my clients that have tens of millions of dollars. It's all just about what pieces are relevant to them, but all of my clients need a good asset protection strategy in place. You know, as far as clients that don't even have umbrella coverage, things like that. We look at all those pieces. Do you have the proper coverage? All clients need some tax planning. It just gets more complicated when you have larger clients. And everyone needs an estate plan. Once again, it's just that much more complicated when there's more assets involved. But it's just coordinating, with clients of all the different areas is really what I think helps differentiate myself and my team.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So what have you found to be the best way to find clients?
So, what has worked best for our team is building relationships with centers of influences. So, CPAs and estate attorneys in particular, sometimes some insurance agents as well. But those relationships tend to take years, 10, 15 years to really build that up. But it's also, we build up relationships, for example, with CPAs that we will send clients to because they're CPAs that we trust. And also, what we do for them is we make their life easier. So I don't wait for them to come to me or my team and say, we need 1099s, we need different K1s, tax documents. We're proactive and we make their lives easier. And not just at tax time, but all through the year. For example, I have a client that last year put in a few $100,000 in a dinner advice fund. Right away, I'm letting that CPA know about that. So that could be all part of the overall tax plan. So if you're providing, not only value to your clients, but value to these CPAs, then in turn, they're referring clients back to you. And that's been some of our largest clients that we have that we have now is from those relationships.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really smart. So what's you talked about a couple of them, but what are the best ways to deliver value to the CPA to
So being proactive, giving them the information they need and want. Anytime I have, any, for example, I like to write blogs of different financial planning topics. So I like to involve them and write topics sometimes that are things that they're interested about, and also appealing to them as individual potential clients as well, because they have their own unique challenges. A lot of them are small business owners, and how can we maximize their retirement savings? So I like to give value to them on a personal level and also just completely make sure that they're informed every step of the way. And it's in particular for these larger clients, we'll have at least one big meeting with the CPA, with the attorneys, with all the different professionals of their life, so that we're all on the same page, and that kind of creates that stickiness, that sticky relationship, because we're putting in the time and we're making sure everybody's informed.
mm-hmm. That's awesome. So the CPA is often referring you business. Do you refer the CPA business as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the things we do as well is, I'm not a CPA, but I do know how to analyze a tax return. I do know how to utilize software to look at things. So there are oftentimes clients, they come to me and I'll notice that, you know, I'll take an example. We do a lot of backdoor Roths for, our small business owners that, obviously they're making too much money to put money into a Roth. And there's been several times where I see that the CPA did not take into account that that was a non-deductible IRA. So all of a sudden clients are owing taxes they didn't need to owe. And so we're having to, amend the return. So there is a times when I say, hey, I've got some professionals that I trust, and I keep a small group of professionals that I have a good relationship with. So yes, I definitely, there's times say I can give you a couple of names because I know that they're going to be in good hands with the professionals that I have the relationships with.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Those sound like very important relationships to find and cultivate. Do you have
Yeah,
any strategies for building relationships with other folks in this industry who can refer you business and you can refer them business?
sure. I think part of it is that the fear of maybe rejection, but I tell people, and have mentored some younger advisors and college students, just get out there, go on LinkedIn, pick up the phone, find out what are their pain points, and make sure you're not bothering them during those times of the year, the crunch time before April, before the fall when they're going to be super busy. But say, hey, let's have some coffee. We can talk about who's your ideal client, who's my ideal client, and just that's how relationships are built. It's more about just reach out. A lot of them are happy to share their knowledge and talk to you about it, and a lot of them don't know exactly what you're looking for. And if you have some meetings, say, yeah, this is my ideal client. Who's your ideal client? And share that with them.
Awesome, awesome. Can you tell us about your ideal client and why you chose that type of client to serve?
Sure, absolutely. Typically, my ideal client is usually someone between the ages of 45, 45 to 70. They either have assets because they inherited the money, or a lot of them are very successful entrepreneurs, or have a lot of doctors and dentists. Um, they are typically tax conscious and want to save as much as possible. They're usually very charitably inclined. So that's something that we definitely help them with, whether it be something on a larger scale like a foundation or something on a smaller scale like a donor advised fund. But they're usually, either very successful business people or have inherited a good amount of wealth.
Hmm. Okay, so most of your clients could be categorized as high net worth or ultra high net worth clients.
Correct. Correct. We do have some clients that are not, but the majority of our clients are high net worth, and we do have a segment that is also in that ultra high net worth arena as well.
That's very exciting. That's why we named this show the title that it's named.
Yeah. I mean, we have, a lot, sometimes we have, you know, adult child clients that maybe the whole relationship might be considered high net worth or ultra high net worth, but a lot of them are just growing. So we do have smaller clients that are family relationships and things like that.
That's awesome. Do you any advice for uh, how to serve ultra high net worth and high net worth clients?
I think what I've learned, particularly in the past 5 years in my career, that the ultra high net worth clients tend to be more transparent than they ever were, meaning they want their children and even very young children involved. So one thing we do at Affinity is we'll facilitate investment and planning meetings, starting at a young age to educate them about money, about what investing is. Sometimes the parents might even get like, for example, a $10,000 account, and they can make decisions around that. Um, they're very, very interested in passing down the values to children. Um, I think about what Warren Buffett had said at one point, enough money so that the children could do what they wanted, but not so much that they wanted to do nothing. And I think I think that's really important to them is passing down that money is a tool, but that find something you're passionate about. I think when we bring the whole family in and have it as a, have our team meet with them throughout the years, I think that's super important to high net worth people, high net worth clients. And making sure that their wishes are carried out from their death and beyond. They like to set up dynasties. And how about their children and children's children and, great great grandchildren? It's something we help them with as well.
Can you share an experience when an ultra high net worth client came to you with a concern and how you kind of helped them feel better about it? It might be market related, might even be family related.
Yeah. So I did have a client come to me and, you know, ultra high net worth client, tens of billions, but education for them was super important. But they weren't sure what vehicle to use, how to go about it, how to really build that legacy. So what I talked to them about was, setting up a 529 plan every time a child or grandchild is born. And that person had a spouse. So it was the client and their spouse, both clients. And what you could do in that case is you can pre-fund for 5 years the annual gift tax exclusion, which right now is 17 grand. So you're talking 17 grand times 5 from mom, 17 grand times 5, from dad, total of $170,000. Put that into a 529 plan when the child is born, and that grows and grows and grows. And that vehicle could, like I said, that's the type of thing that would benefit for generations, that generational wealth transfer. And what a great way. It's for education and it grows, tax deferred. And if you use for education, it comes out tax free. And another good thing about that is that, they're very liberal now with what you can use it for, meaning, it could be for colleges, trade school, room and board, books, laptops, lots of different things. And that was very important to this client. So they were really excited about it. And when you just kind of see, baby was coming, baby was going to be born in a couple of months. And when you kind of show them the projections and what that 170,000 can do over time, it was really powerful. Kind of to give them, using technology, the visual of what that really looks like. Because we just with the increasing cost of college, even though you're passing down money, sometimes you want it to be for certain things. And in this case, that was what was important to them.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's incredible. I've not heard of that strategy before, so you're blowing my mind as well.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Can you share what is the most underutilized savings tool for retirement?
Sure. So this only applies to certain people, but I think it's very underutilized. And that is the HSA, Health Savings Account. Now, I have a lot of clients that are doctors and small business owners. They own a lot of real estate. They're high net worth, ultra high net worth, but they work. And they have health insurance that they have for themselves, for their employees. They tend to have high deductible health insurance plans. So with these high deductible health insurance plans, if they offer an HSA, they can put in over $7,000 for their family, and that number goes up every year. And they can invest that money. They do not need to use that for current medical expenses. So what I tell all these clients is, open the health savings account, put the maximum in every year. Do not use it for health expenses, medical expenses. Keep all your receipts, scan them, and save them for the future. But then in retirement, you had another bucket of tax-free money. An HSA is unique in that it's triple tax-free. It's not taxed when you get it from your paycheck. The growth is tax deferred. And for medical expenses and other things, it comes out tax-free. So imagine you're telling a client who's 40 years old, 40-year-old doctor, and 20 years from now, she's going to, 25 years from now, she's going to have accumulated 7,000 plus a year, invest that money. She'll have receipts that back up different things, but she can pull that out tax-free. She could also use it for long-term care expenses, long-term care insurance, care premiums, a whole host of things. And with being high net worth and ultra high net worth wage and income earners, it's really hard to then get a tax-free bucket beyond the backdoor Roth. So what a great thing in retirement when these clients have a bigger tax-free bucket, and then they have the money they put in their 401ks and IRAs and things like that, that they're taxed on as income. And then these clients simply have very large investment accounts, which that's taxed on just capital gains when sold. So when we're pulling off these accounts in retirement, then there's a way that we can keep them within a certain tax bracket. So a client recently said, I'm going to need $300,000 a year. Well, if we could pull from these different buckets and keep them in, say, the 24% tax bracket, what a great thing to be able to do, because we have the different tax buckets to choose from. So I highly encourage people to open HSAs if you can, if you have a high deductible plan or offer one, and don't use it for those medical expenses. Just keep putting the money in and make sure you invest it, because it's something you proactively have to do. Sometimes people just leave it in the money market. The real power is that, you invest that money.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good advice. So this show is called the Ultra High Net Worth Clients Podcast. So I'd be remiss if I did not ask this. How did you find and close your largest client?
So the largest client actually was a referral from a CPA that we had dealt with for about 15 years. So there was already that trust. Now, this particular client, it did take several meetings. But what was most important, this client had an estate attorney, had a business attorney, had a personal attorney, had their business CPA, had their personal CPA. So once he realized that we were going to make his life that much easier by coordinating everything, then it became an easy answer for him that my advisory team, myself and my two advisors was the team he wanted to go with.
Okay, does that act as a big attractor to ultra high net worth clients? They see you as kind of the coordinator of all the other roles.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it's actually what I consider my most important role is being that quarterback, because everybody's, sometimes out on in a silo. But if we get everything coordinated and get everyone in one room, COVID hit and it was Zoom, but usually what's best for us is we all sit down together, and these meetings can last for hours. But for more complicated clients, that they know everything's being taken care of, everyone's reading from the same sheet of music, that to them gives them such peace of mind. And I think that that's the value that we bring, is that peace of mind when we coordinate with the professionals of their life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think what's also important with that is there's one person that's ultimately responsible for follow through. So we own that. So, if the CPA promised something, I'm not just going to assume the CPA is going to do it. Yes, he's a professional or she's a professional and we'll get it done. But I'm going to make sure I'm following up with them. I'm going to make sure everybody's in the know. I'm going to make sure there's, summary emails and minutes, summary emails sent, everything documented, minutes taken, all that, I's dotted, T's crossed. So that's important too.
Yeah. What was it, that realization that you credit to kind of pushing them over the edge to working with you guys?
Yeah, I really think so, because I think their experience in the past, you sometimes say, what do you like about your current advisor? Or what, if you could mold your advisor out of clay, what would he or she look like or be like? And that was part of it. It's not just, a lot of it is just follow up. And, for us, we always get back to clients within 24 hours, and we're always going to be that quarterback. So those are the things that, really stood out and really solidified the client's decision. And ultimately, he and his wife have been with us for many years now.
That's great. I never quite connected those dots, but that makes a lot of sense. And I can see that curing a lot of headaches for, larger clients. They're just like, great, you'll handle it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what it's all about. We want to make their lives easier. And, you know, and sometimes we do things that are, maybe non-traditional, we've even helped some clients negotiate leases on their car. I mean, we kind of do it all. So, but for it was, yeah, yeah, you're funny.
You are a wealth of information, and I'm very much enjoying our conversation. I could ask you questions for the rest of the afternoon, easily, but
Let's, well,
I
thank
will
you.
I will
I,
respect your
yeah,
time. Just one final question. I like to end the episodes this way. It's subjective, open-ended question. You can take it in any direction you like. And the question is, what are you working towards?
what am I working towards? Um, I'm working towards just continually learning more about the business, keeping myself up to date. There's so many regulations that are changing. There's so many IRS things that are changing. There's so many different techniques. So, it's a work in progress, but, and there's always things to learn. But I'm working towards that and to bringing up my team and having our team, be the best we can be and do the best for our clients and show every one of them how to use money as a tool so they could live a great life.
Mm, beautiful. Wow. Well put. And where can our audience find out more about you and everything you're doing?
Sure, sure. You could email me at cyoungcourt at affinitywealth.com, and it's AFFINITY wealth, WEALTH.com. You can call me on my cell, 302-290-1979, or you can check us out on the web. Once again, that's Affinity Wealth.
Great. And we will link to all of those places in the show notes.
All right.
Cindy?
And you can also check me out on LinkedIn. I do have some blogs there about a variety of different topics.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Cindy, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. Really enjoyed it. I can't wait for our audience to hear this interview.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it as well. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. And to all listeners out there, keep on growing. We'll see you next time.